Hello and welcome to the Dr. Zammsy podcast, Dr. Z NFT. I'm Rolf Waxwars, your host, and we're here with Matt Gazer, amazing artist, and Gordon in Scotland, our 3D animator. How's it going, guys?
Yeah,
Going well. It's nice to be back on the air post Set 3 launch.
Yep.
Excited to talk about all things Set 3, how that went, and our future plans with the franchise. So
Rolf's making me nervous. Spinning that around with one hand.
This is the newest edition. This is the light cruiser, Moff Gideon's light cruiser from Legos.
Nice.
My kids actually all. You guys probably on a previous episode, I was talking about how I got COVID. Well, then all my kids got COVID. They had like almost no symptoms, but we have to sort of stay indoors. So we built this thing. It took half a day. It's like 1,400 pieces.
I wanted to get that thing they announced for May 4th. It was Luke Skywalker's the land speeder from the first film, New Hope, like the one he drives. They've done that as like a Lego vehicle. It's quite this big. So I was like, yeah, keen to get that. Nice. So Set 3.
Bob here too.
And then Bob in the back. Set 3. So if you and Matt, if Matt and Rolf want to talk about that, because that's kind of your baby. So
we put a lot of work into. We put a lot of work into this set, as most people that follow us know. The amount of level of the art, the stories on the cards was just an astronomical feat. I think it spanned something like 7 or 8 months of developing all the cards that went into that set. And we launched it, and we sold about 10% of our inventory from what Rolf told me. I don't know if that number's bumped a little bit. But
it did. I feel like it did better than I was expecting. We're in this crypto winter depression.
Absolutely.
With the collapse of Luna and even Solana too. I mean, Solana had 2 outages this last month where it just was down, which Wax, that hasn't happened to Wax, but that I think that's why Wax spiked up. From when we had our sale, Wax was down to like 9 or 10 cents. And then I noticed on the day Solana crashed, Wax spiked up to 13, 14. Actually, it went up to like 18 or 19 cents on that day, I think, because Solana's crashed a lot of times. Like it's been kind of unreliable, but it's this is a new space. It's a new space.
It's absolutely. There's ups and downs constantly in this market. That definitely affects sales. When people aren't feeling as wealthy in their crypto wallets, they're obviously not going to spend as much. But I was happily impressed with the amount of packs that were sold, especially the ultimate pack. Something like 150 different packs were sold on that, and that was impressive. So thank you, fans out there, for supporting us.
Thank you, fans,
and putting your support into that launch. That was fantastic. Moving forward with the funds generated from that launch, it really wasn't enough to go full time on the card game, but it definitely gives us much more money in our pockets so that we can, get our team back to working on things like the splicer, the interface for the splicer, and we're hoping like in the next 6 weeks we'll be able to have some working prototype that looks pretty cool. I think we're also going to get Rusty on board with modeling out the table itself, or Gordon. We'll have to decide. But those 2 things are on our plate right now, and we're going to use the funds generated from the Set 3 to build that out. So we're really excited. We're kind of back on track a little bit. We are still talking to venture capital investors, and
those guys are. Yeah, so we're meeting with people each and every day, and but I want to just throw a shout out to our friends that we got to do. We had 2 days of live streaming leading up to our launch and on the day of launch, and those guys were just so awesome to have us on their show. The NFT Gamer guys TV. And I think we mentioned on there, we talked about doing sort of a promo because we haven't really talked about the t-shirts too much, but it's like the most comfortable t-shirt ever. We don't really make much off it, but it's just, I think it'd be cool to for marketing for people. We wanted to do sort of a promo where if you buy a t-shirt, and you take a picture and send us your Wax address, we can send you 2 free packs. So that's still ongoing. So if you go, we'll put that, it'll be in the show notes, where you just click on the Cotton Bureau link for Matt Gazer, and we've got a bunch of shirts that have pictures from the series 1, 2, and 3. And this is one of the newest ones, the Amelia Youngling picture that our friend Felix drew for the set 3. And
just a little added note for this fun little thing we're doing with the t-shirts. If you could also screen grab your receipt for the sale and send that privately through our Discord. Reach out to either Rolf on Wax Wars or me, Dr. Zammsy, Matt Gazer, and once we evaluate that, we'll send you. And you send us your Wax address. We'll send you some free packs. But yeah, if you could just send us a picture of the T-shirt, wherever in your house, just take a picture of that along with a screen grab, a receipt of the sale, and we'll give you those packs. So kind of fun. But yeah, the fun's not over. Rolf and I and Gordon, actually, before this meeting, we were talking about what we want to do to kind of boost the support of our Discord and Telegram. And we definitely want to, we're going to be planning this week, like a laundry list of like more scavenger hunts, more giveaways.
People love
more
the scavenger
blends.
hunt. We had over 200 people collect all of the necessary pieces and create the reward, which was a special blue series card that was only available in that scavenger hunt. It's ended now, so there's probably some on the secondary market, but we want to do another scavenger hunt very soon here, where you guys will be able to, we'll search around for things and get a reward. So that's coming soon. And we also want to bring back the puzzles, because we know that was really popular in our first and second series. Was, we'll have these puzzles where people have to search around for clues in the story and get a reward. And this will be free for everyone to participate. So it should be really fun for everybody.
Yeah, we've talked. Sorry, Matt, you go.
I just said totally.
Yeah, totally. We've talked about the art contest also. I know people expressed that a thing in the past where they were trying to either model or paint stuff based on Zammsy's world. Yeah. And we were all for that as well. We've been talking about, running something like that maybe on a monthly, bi-weekly basis, where people would submit art, and then if it won a competition, obviously judged between myself and Matt and whoever else, we could bring in guest judges, and we could give away NFTs, t-shirts for first place, second place, third place, and it might be an incentive for you guys to contribute to the world as well, and maybe even come up with, like, we could even have a brief where you could invent a new character or droid or something for the world, and if you've done well enough, Matt might maybe then draw it in his style eventually, and art it up to his level and put it in the world, and that could be a thing. Even you guys could be permanent, members of the Zammsy world, that, you've done that through the competition. So there's a million things we could do with that, but we thought it would be a good idea just to get the community involved again. So, yeah.
So definitely this week we're going to create that official list and try and set some dates on those things, and then announce that on our Discord general chat and announcements channel. And you guys can look forward to those events coming at a particular timeline that we'll have all planned out, I think, by the end of this week. So really cool. And in other news, the animated series is one of our absolute top priorities now. NFTs, new NFTs, in terms of my art development, it's going to slow down for a bit. We're going to really try and focus on, at least for myself, art directing my guys on the card game 3D assets. But the absolute highest priority, which we think is valuable for the long-term success of the franchise and our NFTs as well long-term, is to get the animated series greenlit and made. So Lakeside Animation, their creative director, writer of ours, Matt Lyon, has proposed a shopping agreement where they would exclusively shop Dr. Zammsy, and they're planning to go to Annecy this weekend. They have over like 10 meetings with massive studios like Apple and et cetera. So we're also hunting for an agent. Got in touch with some industry leads that I was able to reach out to, and apparently our deck is being submitted to 20 different managers, agents that could potentially help us as well. So that's pushing along really, really nicely. We kind of finally realized that we could milk our own contacts for getting the animated series made, book these like pitch meetings, but the official way to do it is really to go through an agent that represents you and all that. So we learned a little bit there, and hopefully we'll get some more success out of that plan.
All right,
Yeah.
so we have so right now there's this show Kenobi that came out, and been following that, the latest Star Wars show. Obviously, I'm a big Star Wars fan with all my kids and stuff. Well, I mean,
if you couldn't tell how we have every episode, Rolf has to bring out a new Star Wars toy.
Yeah. So so far the show is, I don't know, it's kind of a mixed bag, but I mean, it's what else is on TV. So I'm not totally happy with how they sort of have Kenobi be this sort of loser. How they did the same thing to Luke Skywalker, Han Solo. They just made them these like losers, where before they were, the heroes. So I'm hoping by the end of Kenobi, he sort of regains his power, because they made him just this absolute loser at the beginning of the series. He doesn't even remember the Force. He hides his lightsabers. It's just kind of ridiculous, but I guess they just wanted him to be in the lowest point possible and then bring him back up. I'm hoping by the end,
right,
it's a positive situation.
I think it makes sense. I mean, I know the new Star Wars writing's never been great, right? And I think they're retelling these stories so much that it kind of gets a bit old. But I think it also relates to the same way Luke, is that when you fail so badly, when you have such a traumatic experience, and it's almost like Kenobi suffering from PTSD, because he's having these nightmares and these flashbacks, and he's desperately trying to contact Qui-Gon because he's so lost. And I think it's just the fact that like the betrayal of Anakin turning, I think, is something that he almost up until the very last minute of his death never really got over, and never really understood why he failed him so much. I mean, people replay that. It was even in the start of the recap where, he's standing over his body and it's like, you were the chosen one. You were said to you that you were going to bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness, that you would destroy the Sith, not join them. And then finally to bring the tear to your eyes, like, you were my brother, Anakin. I loved you, and he did. And when Anakin just turns like that, he's like, was it my fault? Am I the one to blame? And even in the first episode, when he meets Owen and he talks to him about, staying away from Luke, he's like, when it comes time, the boy must be trained. And he's like you trained his father. And I was like,
yeah, that hit pretty hard. That was pretty good writing.
It was cold.
Yeah.
But like I can see why Kenobi is cutting himself off from the Force, because he just believes that nothing good had come from it. All those years of training Anakin, and it led to him joining the dark side. So yeah, it's kind of understandable. It's the same how Luke kind of has that same thing where, he's basically, every time he's connected to the Force, he's ended up either killing someone or nearly turning to the dark side. So he's like, it obviously isn't serving me. I'm obviously nothing, I'm just like my father. I'm going to just end up like him. The whole thing in the cave in Dagobah where he's, he cuts down Vader and his mask explodes and it's his face. So it's like the foreshadowing of like, he's just going to end up like his dad. Or that, the other thing that people think also, that his dad is also good like him, and there is something inside him that's like Luke. So yeah, there's a
for
whole...
me,
I just think that...
For me, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I just think there's another way to do it. There's another way to tell the story where he could be in a bad place. He could be in this depressive place, but he still has this spirit, or he still does these sort of force power things. He hasn't lost hope or whatever. And even though he knows he's in a bad place, it's kind of like they did the same thing to Boba Fett too. They just made him this like really weak character where he has to ask people for help all the time. And it's kind of like, well, if you're the badass, he's like the most badass character of all time. He knows what to do. So when they just sort of destroy the character when he's asking all these people, like, how do I do this? Which is okay, I guess, here and there. But like at the end of the day, the hero sort of knows what to do and does these powerful, awesome things that make you like love the character. So
For me, the world building was really cool. I love the new shots of Alderaan and more of an intimate experience within the city. I definitely want to live there. that blend of like hyper nature mixed with super futurism is like a trend that I like to explore in my own work sometimes. So I would love to take a vacation. For sure.
Oh my God. That looked straight out of Matt Gazer's. When I looked at the city there, I was like thinking of you, Matt.
I've seen some of the early concepts of that stuff as well, and it does look pretty similar to what Matt's done back in Lucasfilm, sorry.
Are you talking about new concepts for Alderaan for the Kenobi series?
Yes.
Oh man, shoot me those. I'd love to see them.
Yeah. I'm not supposed to have them technically, but okay.
Well, then we'll keep that a secret.
But yeah, like that whole planet design bit. Like, I think just quickly to end on Kenobi, it was like I think when Jedi are cut off from the Force, they feel it is like a depression. It's like when you don't get sunlight as a person, your vitamin D drops and your whole mood shifts. Because when Leia talks to him about when they're on the transporter, like, what's it like to use the Force? What does it feel like? And he's like, have you ever been afraid of the dark? And she's like, yeah. Like, when you turn on the light, how do you feel? She's like, safe. He's like, yeah, that's how you feel. So I think without the Force, he feels he's no Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's why he gets everyone to call him Ben, because he feels like he's not really a Jedi anymore. So
right.
It's been 10 years also. It's been 10 years of him not really using the Force and hiding. So
another great trailer I saw yesterday. I think it was the second trailer for Sea Beasts, made by the makers of Moana.
I saw the
Sea Beasts. That's the name of it.
Yeah, something like that.
It's kind of like How Do You Train Your Dragon, but instead of dragons, it's underwater sea beasts with pirates and this sort of fantasy world.
The Sea Beast.
Oh, the Sea Beast. Thank you.
Yeah, I've seen some snippets of that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I don't know about this title, The Sea Beast. It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
The Sea Beast.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of new trailers out. There was another one I think was called Strange Worlds by Disney or Pixar.
Oh yeah, I saw that also. Yeah,
and that looked. I love that shot where the Voyagers are camping with their tents along this edge of this cliff, and then it starts to separate, and then it cuts a wide shot, and you see these legs kind of moving, and they're actually on top. That I thought that was like, oh my God, that's so cool.
I saw there'd be more and more clips and trailers also for Lightyear. That's getting more and more traction now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's out
Lightyear
soon.
Looks pretty good.
Looks decent. Yeah. Well, I'm interested to see how Chris, what's his name? What was the Chris Evans does as Lightyear. Yeah, I think it'll be.
I think that's gonna be pretty promising. I actually talked with a friend of mine that's helped do some production design on that, and that was about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. We were chatting, and he was telling me he was on that show, and he said it was such a blast developing the tech for it, because they were just looking at like Halo and motocross sci-fi, motocross tech, with like there's armor and everything, and it's got a nice style to it. It's cool to see Buzz kind of in his own real element instead of being a toy. So I'm really glad they went in that direction.
I wonder if they ever do a Woody thing also, where like they'll do like kind of Western. You know what I mean?
I can see them doing that. Yeah,
that'd be interesting. Yeah, to see that as well.
They could do that with all the characters. Mr. Potato Head.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, it makes sense with the cowboy and the spaceman. Like, it's kind of real life jobs and stuff. But there's a bunch of stuff that's came out. Even that Black Adam got a trailer recently, like a full reveal. I
saw that this morning.
Yeah, it's been pre-production.
With, Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah. And Jurassic World 3 is coming out, I think, this week.
That also, yeah.
They were supposed
it's coming out this week. I thought it came out. I thought they came out last week, but
it's coming out this week. This week.
Yeah.
This Friday.
Yeah, I actually saw Top Gun Maverick, and it kind of hit home for me because my wife's father was actually a Top Gun teacher.
Oh wow!
He was also commander of the Pacific for the Air Force for a while. And cool. I was hearing some stories. There was this guy, Buzz Mosley, and if you look him up, that was his call name was Buzz. Oh, and cool. He was a pretty famous guy, and if you look up his Wikipedia, it almost sounds like Maverick was based on him. It's kind of wild, but I mean, I've heard some stories, really cool. But anyway, the movie itself, totally amazing.
Yeah, there's an article. There's some article that Top Gun was based off of, which I I think some of those characters were based off this article that was written.
More like if it was real people. Yeah, it makes sense that people would draw. You always draw inspiration for what you know, so probably they have heard them at one point and drawn it. Yeah, I'll tell you what I'm really excited for is the Wednesday series, like Wednesday Addams, from the Addams Family.
Oh yeah,
What's
that's
that
Tim Burton's series.
I think Netflix is getting it. Yeah, it's Tim Burton is doing it basically. Like back to the original roots of him doing the original Addams films, but yeah, he's doing a Wednesday. I think it's a TV series, Wednesday Addams. So yeah,
nice.
I don't want to.
I worked on one
too much
film
about
Tim Burton film.
One of the films.
Yeah, one of his films. It was called Big Eyes. It was a true story about this artist who her husband took credit for her drawings.
And he took all the credit. Yeah.
And she actually sued him, like in the state of Hawaii. So they actually filmed it in Hawaii, at the actual courthouse in Hawaii, just true to the story. So I got to be one of the the people in the courtroom or whatever.
That's cool.
Might not be buzzing. Tim Burton's a real inspiration. I mean, the one thing I love about Burton, the same way like Ridley Scott and some other directors who can draw, like they sketch. Some of Tim Burton's sketchbooks apparently people have picked up and said when he's left them and like they're just fully absolute gold. So
I'm sure. Would
I love to have got his Batman one and see what he'd done for the Batman stuff. If they're sitting opposite Bob Kane, so,
I think what would be the coolest experience is to work one-on-one with Terry Gilliam on some amazing film. I mean, his stuff's pretty out there, but I think he's just a fantastic creator. He's just so passionate. He's just like a true artist, and
one of the biggest inspirations
concepts for him would be amazing.
One of the biggest inspirations for South Park, Terry Gilliam.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why Trey originally done the craft paper stuff, the cutout stuff that was stop motion, because he was trying to harken it back to the early Monty Python stuff that Gilliam done.
Oh, sweet. Nice.
So, yeah.
I'll tell you one quick story, too, about my father-in-law. When he was flying in the Air Force out of Nevada, I had to ask him, because I'm a big UFO guy, and I said, did you ever go to Roswell, or not Roswell, but Area 51, or did you at least see it? And he's like, they had this thing called the box. It was an imaginary box around that zone, and he said I couldn't fly into it. If I did, I would have been let go immediately. But he said he was flying on the corner of that box, and he could see in the distance the airstrip. And he said, and he's flown all around the world throughout his whole career, and he said it was the longest airstrip he had ever seen. He was like shocked, which is kind of interesting. But no aliens, no UFOs.
Something's probably landing there. Yeah.
And back to Top Gun really quick. I mean, we're probably wrapping up, but I worked for about 7 years. I was never in the military, but I did all the fuel for the ships and the aircraft at Pearl Harbor for about 7 years. That was my job, was testing you have to test the fuel to make sure it's suitable for use, and then store the fuel, and then send it to where the ships are, where the jets are, and then filter it multiple times and send it. And then ultimately the flight crew actually fuel up their own aircraft, but you bring everything to them and give them the hose. And it was just a whole process of fueling those aircraft up to keep us safe.
Really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, people always I was gonna say, I don't know if you guys have read the news about Top Gun, but it's getting like a bad rap in the general public about being like anti-woke, or it's very behind the times with where America is. I never got the feeling of that. I felt like it was a very nostalgic film, true to the first one. But there's a lot of naysayers out there that are just hating it, like it's such a dude movie, and a dude movie's not allowed anymore. I don't know.
I don't really go there. Like, I don't care who's the lead character, if it's a man, woman, transgender, whatever.
Me too.
As long as it's a good story, it really doesn't matter. Like, I think that's what a lot of people miss out, is some of these sort of what they call woke or whatever are just terrible stories. And like, it really, if they just made a really good story, I really don't care who is the lead. As long as it's an awesome story, beginning, middle, and end, it doesn't matter who it's about, what it's about. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, you're also talking about the military people as well, and I don't think the military people would be the most woke. And the most woke people I know who are ex-military, right? They don't stay in the military because they realize maybe what the machine's like internally, so they leave. But yeah, I don't think if you're watching a film about American military, especially people who are maybe a bit older, they're not going to be the most woke people, right? Because they're older, lived a life, different views.
I think the key is just to not even think about. I mean, I think when people say that Top Gun is not this or not that, they're trying to sell their article or whatever.
I know. It's pretty funny.
It'll be a small minority. I wouldn't imagine. Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's how much money does it generate? Like people vote by how much tickets were sold. That's how you know something's good. Like people go, they tell their friends, people go see it 2 or 3 times. I mean, that's how you know if something's good. Like the critics can say whatever, but really, I like to look at those audience scores on Rotten Tomatoes because, I mean, one of my favorite Johnny Depp movies of all time, it's called The Professor, and no one's ever heard of it.
Yeah.
And it's got like a 10%. It never really came out in theaters because it's so anti-culture. I think they just didn't want it to be released, but the audience score is like 80%. Yeah. And the critic score is like 9%. And
critical success on a commercial success.
I would trust the people who watched it and liked it versus the critics who are part of the system or whatever. So
I think people give the military a harsh rap because of the whole machine thing, but like at the same time, some of the biggest technology leaps forward that we have in humanity always come from technology that's built within the military. When I interviewed Lorne Lanning of Oddworld, who built Oddworld. His first job was 3D art, but he done it for military simulations, and he was like, some of the stuff they were projecting and thinking about and they were testing at that point was like almost already 20 years ahead of where the world was. That stuff eventually caught up, but everything that's really at the forefront, even stuff like VR and AR, is already just so advanced in the military already that they're using it day to day. Especially Boston Dynamics, the guy who make the dogs who walk and stuff like that, who do like, they can walk like real dogs and carry stuff. That stuff's already been picked up by the military because it has more application.
My brother-in-law, my wife's brother, is pararescue for the Air Force, and he says they train through VR sometimes. So and like virtual world.
They have the whole rooms. Sets. They have it. So there was a military experiment that basically turned into a theme park ride in Star Wars, where they built these huge rooms that were custom built for VR, and they put headsets in backpacks and give them guns, and they'd walk about these virtual worlds shooting. And then that turned into a ride. I think it's in Star Wars, either California or Florida. But you walk into a room and have like a headset and a backpack and a gun, and you walk about as stormtroopers, but you're on like a mission, and they have real world props in the room that you walk into, like doors and walls and stuff.
Actually pick them up.
Thing. It's
pretty awesome.
So
nice,
very cool.
Yeah, a lot of his buddies are actually getting picked up to be extras for Halo because it requires professional tactic, running around the sets and there's certain protocols and ways of doing things, and so they're picking them up. I was like, dude, that'd be so cool. You should apply. And he doesn't want to do it though because it takes away too much time from his family. Yeah, but
I'll still watch Halo. It does look good though.
Yeah, that's the reason why I quit doing movie production, because it's 14 hours a day. And when I had small children, having that job with the government was you clock in and clock out, and then you have time for the kids and everything. A certain hour.
Well, hey, listen, we're pushing almost 30 minutes here, so you guys, thanks again for all your support on set 3. Just know that we're still firing as hard as we can, and we got a bit of a hard road here, just trying to keep things going, but we're not going to give up, and we're still extremely motivated and excited. So we'll keep doing these podcasts, keep you updated, and thanks again.
Go check out the t-shirts, and if you get one, we only get $5 from it, so it's really just
for the fans.
Cool if you want a cool shirt that you can wear all the time, even wear it to bed because it's just so comfortable. Go get a t-shirt, post a picture. We'll put the details of what the requirements are, but we want to give away 2 packs. I'll put an announcement in Discord with the exact kind of things you need to do. And get a cool shirt, man, and show all your friends. And I mean, you're gonna have a shirt that no one else has, and some people think that's cool to have something nobody else has, and your friends might ask you where you got that from, and you can tell them about the world of Dr. Zammsy. Thank you, guys.
Right. And if you haven't joined the Discord already, also join the Discord.
Please do. All right, guys, see you next week. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Aloha.